My name is Parastu Imami, and I'm the host of The Road to Success for Your Highly Sensitive Child. This podcast is about empowering parents of highly sensitive children to nurture their child's unique personality trait and create a path to success. Our podcast provides guidance, insights, and support to help you unlock your child's full potential, fostering resilience, confidence, and a bright future. If you're new to my podcast, please go back and listen to episodes 1 and 2 because they provide information on high sensitivity that all subsequent episodes will build upon. If you skip these episodes, you won't get as much out of this and all subsequent episodes. To book a private coaching session with me, please visit my website at parentinghsc.com. If you're looking for a talented portrait photographer, I highly recommend Laurie Bishop of Become Studios. Check her website out at www.becomebeseen.com. You can find the link in my podcast description. For a limited time, if you use the promo code PARIS2100, you will get a $100 credit towards photo purchases. Welcome back. Today's episode is a quick summary and takeaway from the series on the similarities and differences between autistic children and highly sensitive children. So first, let's talk about autistic children. So autism spectrum disorder is a neurodevelopmental disorder characterized by challenges in social interaction, communication, and restricted or repetitive patterns of behavior, interests, or activities. Children with autism often have significant difficulties in understanding social cues and engaging in typical social behaviors. They might struggle with making eye contact, understanding emotions, or engaging in back and forth conversation. Communication challenges range from being nonverbal to having difficulty in effectively using verbal language for social communication. Some might have advanced language skills in specific areas of interest. Now, on the other hand, I will interject here sometimes and talk about high sensitivity while I'm describing autism. But highly sensitive children might display communication challenges too, but the root cause of it is entirely different. So, highly sensitive children might have difficulty speaking when in environments or situations where they don't feel safe, or maybe they don't feel they feel overstimulated. So they may also withdraw, and this can look like the child is not responding to a question that a teacher asks, for example, and to teachers who don't know that this child is highly sensitive, this might seem rude or non-cooperative, but that's not at all what the child's intention is. He or she simply feels overstimulated and is not able to respond. So the word able is key here. It's not that the child cannot speak, because they're fine speaking at home, for example, where they're feeling safe and comfortable. If that's their home situation, by the way, but they are not able to respond because they just simply can't, because they're feeling so overstimulated, or maybe they're not feeling safe. Maybe it's the teacher's way of talking to them. If the teacher's is harsh or uses harsh words or harsh language, and even if they don't use harsh words or harsh language, and this is very important, because highly sensitive children pick up on the energy of other people, or they pick up on subtle changes in a behavior or body language or look or something like that, Even if you use gentle words, and even if you use you thinking you're speaking in a gentle tone of voice, the child may pick up on your energy or something about you that is not the same, and then the child might feel overstimulated or unsafe. So there are many, many nuances why a highly sensitive child would feel unsafe or overstimulated in a situation like this. So, but this is just a simple example. Going back to autistic children, many autistic children display repetitive behaviors or have very focused interests. They can include physical movements, intense interest in a specific subject, or a strong preference for routine. And this varies. That's why it's called a spectrum. So some children might have a very, very strong repetitive behavior. For example, I know someone who is autistic and they print all day long. So that is a very strong example of a repetitive behavior, but it could be also very, on the other side of the spectrum, it could be almost, something very simple that they repeat, for example. And children with autism often have unusual responses to sensory inputs, such as being bothered by certain sounds, lights, or textures. Now, highly sensitive children can have sensitivity to sensory inputs like loud sounds, bright lights, or rough or scratchy textures as well. But the reason behind it is different. For example, if they're sensitive to loud sounds, it's because they hear at a much higher decibel levels than a non highly sensitive child. And then lastly, autism is typically diagnosed by healthcare professionals through a combination of behavioral observations and developmental assessments. So now let's talk about highly sensitive children. High sensitivity is a genetic personality trait, and it is passed down from one or both biological parents. So, to be considered a highly sensitive child, you must have all four of the following components. The first one is depth of processing. This is the ability to deeply analyze everything. They look at things from different angles and analyze things very deeply. The second one is overstimulation. This is when your child quickly gets overwhelmed by the world around them. This is because they process everything deeply and they feel emotions deeply. This can easily be managed using somatic techniques. If you're interested in learning about that, please refer to my episode dated February 13th, 2024. And then the fourth aspect is emotional responsiveness and empathy. Your child feels everything deeply and reacts intensely to mistakes. They're extremely empathetic people. I mean, they take empathy to the next level. I'm sorry. I think that was number three. Yeah, that was number three. And then the fourth aspect is sensitivity to subtle stimuli. So your child picks up on minute things, being aware of subtle sounds, smells, details, and etc. Your child notices subtle changes with people or places, like if a piece of furniture has been moved or removed altogether. Also, they might notice funny odors or a tone of voice that's different, a glance that's different than usual, and small signs of encouragement. And they can also sense what teachers want. And then the diagnosis for high sensitivity is basically, no, if you know your child has all four of the above components, then you know that your child is highly sensitive. But if you want to be sure, what you don't need a doctor or a medical profession to diagnose high sensitivity. What you can do is work with a coach like myself and find out if your child is highly sensitive, and you basically take a test that gives you an answer at the end. So let's talk about key differences. I know we talked about it a little bit earlier when we were talking about autism, but let's just talk about it now in more detail. So, autism is a developmental disorder, whereas high sensitivity is a genetic personality trait. Autistic children generally have challenges in social communication and understanding social cues compared to highly sensitive children. So, highly sensitive children are actually very good at picking up on subtle changes in another person's behavior, mood, energy, and etc. They're very good at being attuned to other people. Autism is a developmental disorder that affects communication and behavior, and its signs typically appear in early childhood. High sensitivity is not a disorder, but a personality trait that implies a deeper cognitive processing of physical, social, and emotional stimuli. It is not associated with developmental delays. And also, in many cases, highly sensitive children actually develop faster. For example, they might use big words for their age or make comments that are very sophisticated for their age. Autistic children often exhibit restricted and repetitive patterns of behavior, which is not a characteristic of high sensitivity. Autistic children often have significant difficulty coping with change, which can lead to distress or meltdowns. Highly sensitive children may prefer routine, but they generally can cope with change better than autistic children if they are given time to process and adapt. And of course, with highly sensitive children, um, you can, as long as you explain what they should expect, especially when they're doing something new, if it's a change or something that they're going to be doing for the first time. If you can tell them what they can expect, if it's similar to something they've done in the past, that really helps them, get set up for success. Lastly, autism requires a formal diagnosis because it's a medical condition, but high sensitivity is a personality trait. And you can take a test to determine if you're highly sensitive, like I mentioned before, but it's best if you take the test with someone who is an expert in this field, especially because it's free anyway. So you might as well, hire a coach to do that. I don't know if all coaches, don't charge for this, but I certainly don't. So feel free to reach out to me if you want to take the test. So let's talk about key takeaways now. So, while highly sensitive children and autistic children can both experience the world in an intense and challenging way, the nature of their experiences and needs differ substantially. Autism is a neurodevelopmental disorder that requires specific interventions and strategies, while high sensitivity is a temperament that thrives with emotional attunement by the parents or caregivers, balance, and the right environment. Understanding these differences is essential for providing the appropriate support to help each child thrive in life. If a teacher or caregiver tells you that your child might be autistic, please do your homework and make sure that your child is not highly sensitive, because at this time, too many people are not knowledgeable about high sensitivity. So if they don't know about high sensitivity and they don't they're not an expert on autism, they may give you the wrong information. So just make sure that it's easy to find out if your child is highly sensitive. So why not take, the 5-10 minutes it takes to take that test and find out. So, as we wrap up today's episode, I want to remind you that you have the power to create a bright and successful future for your highly sensitive child. Embrace their uniqueness, nurture their strengths, and provide them with the love and support they need. Together, we can pave a path to success that aligns with their sensitivity. Thank you for joining us today. And remember, you're not alone on this journey. We'll be here with more insights and inspiration in our next episode. Until then, keep believing in your child's potential because they truly are extraordinary. Stay tuned, stay inspired, and stay committed to setting your child up for success in life. To book a private coaching session with me, please visit my website at parentinghsc.com.